What is up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Queen City Reds. It's just me today. Hopefully, next week that'll change and I'll have somebody else so I don't have to just talk to the blank screen and talk to you all who watch. But appreciate all of you who watch. Before we get into the show, please subscribe if you're not already. Like, leave some comments, helps grow. I know it's lame to say that, but it does help. Appreciate you as always. Let's get right into it. The Reds are coming off a 7-game win streak. They did fall to the Cubs yesterday. We'll get to that later. 7 games in a row. The Reds were sitting at 20-30 not too long ago. The XAP had declared the Reds as dead, bury them in the grave. They're dead, never to be seen again. The Reds are not dead. The Reds are fighting. The Reds are back. They went on a 7-game win streak. They beat the Cubs for a game. They swept the Rockies in Coors Field. And then they came back and won 3 more against the Cubs. You know, again, it's a long season. Baseball's a long season. We needed the Reds to go on some kind of streak to get back into the thick of things. I've been saying the whole time, just get back to 500 and go from there. Just get back to 500 and then you'll see what happens from there. They're close. They're 2 games under 500. They're playing the Guardians for 2, and I think they play the Brewers this weekend. They got some big games coming up. We'll get to those later. We'll preview the Guardians. I'm probably not going to preview the Brewers on here, but I'll have an article out later this week. Make sure you're following. But the 7-game win streak's been unbelievable. TJ Friedel has been a massive part of the 7-game win streak. He's came back and has just been phenomenal. He's just gets on base. He's had some huge home runs. He's been huge for this team. The Reds overall, they're all starting to hit, which has been again, it's been huge. I can't say it enough. A month ago, we were sitting in here and saying maybe the Reds are just that bad. Maybe the offense will never get better. But it finally looks to come alive. A trip to Coors Field to do that help you out a lot, which is very nice. It's been great to see. And, I think if you can take 1 against the Guardians, try to take 2 against the Brewers, things are looking up. We're going to talk about Noevli Marte. We'll be back soon in a couple weeks, hopefully. He can go on his rehab start on Tuesday. So let's just get right into that. Let's get right into Noevli Marte. Noevli Marte can start his rehab or is going to start his rehab tomorrow. Apparently, he had his first talk with the media today. He said he didn't know how the steroids got into his body, and that was the hot topic on the XApp today. Listen, maybe I should care. I don't care. I don't care what he says to the media. I get it. Yeah, maybe you want him to say, hey, I was wrong. And hey, I shouldn't have done this. And I made a mistake, but I don't really care. I don't care. The kid made a mistake. He's a kid, 22 years old, I think he's 22 years old. He made a mistake. It's over. There's nothing to do about it now. Go on the rehab, get right, get ready to help this team make a playoff push. It sucks he's not going to be able to play in the playoffs if the Reds make the playoffs, but we can't worry about that now. We're just trying to get to the playoffs first, folks. We're just trying to get there first. And he's going to be a huge part of this Reds future if he plays like he's capable of. So let's just embrace it. I don't really care what he said to the media. I don't really care. He's just a kid. He made a mistake. He felt bad. Letting his teammates down, letting the fans down, and he's back and it's over with. Almost. He's going to go probably to Triple-A, I'm guessing, play for a couple of weeks. And I think June 27th or so is the first game he could be back as long as there's no postponements or anything like that. Pumped to have Noevli Marte back. He's one of my favorite Reds to watch. I loved watching him come up the prospect ranks when they traded for him. He has an awesome swing, reminds a lot of people of Manny Machado. Really excited to watch Noevli Marte play. He came in last year and hit about 313. Plays a pretty good third base defensively, which we've seen Jamie or Candelario really struggle over there at third base. So he won't need to play over there as much. Really excited about Noevli Marte coming back. And it's getting there. And we said, let's just stay above water, stay afloat when we start to get some of these guys back. We got Friedel back. Now just stay afloat. We're getting Marte back and just keep chugging along. All right, so let's talk about Graham Ashcraft. Graham Ashcraft was sent down. Carson Spires was actually called up for Emilio Pagan was back from the IL for Ashcraft. So a little triangle effect there, but I didn't think the Reds were going to make this move. I thought it was the right move. I didn't think the Reds were going to make this move. The Reds are known to kind of, I don't want to say trust. I think they trust guys, but they're known to kind of let guys figure it out in the major leagues. And this is kind of a move that it's a little bit telling. The Reds said, listen, we have better options right now. Graham Ashcraft, we see you as part of the future, but you need to be better right now. And they said, go down to Triple-A, get better. We don't need a fifth starter till the middle of June. And we'll worry about it then. And I love the move by the Reds. I think as I've followed along with the Reds, as a diehard fan for the last couple of years, people I think should realize that getting sent down to Triple-A or getting sent down demoted shouldn't be looked at as a punishment. Like sometimes I mentioned it before, like Will Benson last year, he went down there and found his confidence and came back up and was a completely different player. I think Graham Ashcraft could maybe do the same. Go down to Triple-A, find your stuff, find your confidence, and come back and pitch like you're capable of pitching. We've seen Graham Ashcraft do great things for this Reds team, and I think he can still do those things. So I still think there's a future for Graham Ashcraft. I don't think he necessarily gets straight to the bullpen like a lot of people are wanting. Maybe he does, but I think he could still be a starter. He just has to locate better. I think sometimes his stuff does so many different things. His movement is all over the place that he's just missing in the middle of the plate. I mean, his last start against who did he start against? Was the Rockies? His last start against the Rockies, yeah. When they came back from the huge deficit, huge home run by Spencer Steer, huge home run by Jonathan India. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that ninth inning? That was incredible. How did I not lead off with that? What a ninth inning by the Reds offense. What a comeback in Coors Field. But Graham Ashcraft just didn't have it. He just didn't have it, and he was just missing over the middle of the play, over the middle of the play, over the middle of the play. So you just can't have it. You just can't have that. He hasn't been good enough, and the Reds decide to make a move, and I love it. I hope he makes a couple starts in Triple-A and he dominates. It would be awesome. I think we're all rooting for Graham Ashcraft. I think we like the guy. So that's it with Graham Ashcraft. It'll be interesting to see. Brandon Williamson, quick note on him. He was returned from his rehab assignment, which I know people freak out when that is the language on the X app. It's kind of a weird people don't really know what that means. It basically means 99% of the time that they had a setback and they brought him back from their rehab appearance because something went wrong. Same thing happened to Ian Jabot earlier in the year. Same thing happened to Sam Mole earlier in the year. And Williamson, same thing happened with him. They said they're going to reevaluate him in 7 days. Seems like the shoulder issue is still there. Not great news, but we'll see from there. With that being said, Carson Spires has pitched amazing. He came in from Frankie Montas yesterday and just threw a gem, 5 2/3. I think he gave up 4 hits. I think he maybe walked one guy and struck out a career high 7. I mean, he is just pitched great this year. He's come in and spots when the Reds are down early and they just need to give him some depth to save the bullpen a little, and he's done that. He's been incredible. What's cool about Spires is I don't think he was ever MLB pipeline top 30 prospect. He's a bit older. He's 26. He was in the COVID year, so he wasn't even drafted. He signed as a free agent by the Reds. But Carson Spires has been a really cool story. I think the Reds will use him going forward. I could see him getting sent down tomorrow just because he threw so many pitches yesterday. They did have an off day today, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. But I think we'll continue to see Spires throughout the year. Even if he gets sent back down, we'll see him eventually back up with the big league club. Sunday's game yesterday was just not a great game. The offense never got going. The Cubs pitcher, I don't even want to attempt to say his name. I'll say it wrong, but he's been pretty good all season. I think he has like a 1.88 ERA. He showed that yesterday. He's second in the Major League Baseball with strikeouts with the splitter, only to Reds reliever Fernando Cruz. He pitched well. The Reds weren't able to get much going. They only had 5 hits against him in 6 2/3 inning, I think 5 2/3 or 6 2/3. I think it was 6 2/3. And they only had 5 hits all game. Listen, the Reds only had 11 hits in the last 2 games. I think 16 hits in the last 3 games, maybe. They're lucky to get 2 or 3 out. I know the Reds offense woke up for a little bit and then they kept winning. So it seemed like the Reds offense was here, but they just had timely hits. They weren't really hitting the crap out of the ball. I think they had 16 hits in their last 3 games against the Cubs. If you're only getting 16 hits in 3 games, you're pretty pumped to come out of there with 2 wins. And that just shows the pitching's been awesome. The pitching has kept them in games repeatedly. With that being said, Frankie Montas, not good enough yesterday. He's really struggled lately. He had that gem in Coors Field, which shocked all of us. He threw 7 innings, only gave up 1 hit, no runs. But if you take that start and put his last 6 starts minus that start, it's really rough for Frankie Montas. I think I don't know if the Reds have enough depth to replace him and Ashcraft, and I don't think they will because the contract is a little different than a guy like Ashcraft. But he needs to be better. He needs to be better. He can't go out and give up 3 runs in the first inning. What really frustrated me in the first inning yesterday with Montas was he walked 2 guys. Like, make him hit the ball, and they did hit the ball in the second inning, so it might not have mattered. But you can't just go out there in the first inning and just walk guys, and walks kill you. I mean, walks kill you. And that's always frustrating to watch. It's one of my biggest frustrations in the 9th inning right now. It seems like if the Reds bring in Lucas Sims, if the Reds bring in Alexis Diaz, the 9th inning, we're always walking guys. You just make them hit the ball, especially with multiple run leads. If it's a 2-run lead, throw it over the middle of the plate. If they hit it out of the ballpark, you're still alive. It's no different than a walk. I guess it's a little different than a walk, but like if you give up a walk and then give up a bomb, it's tie game. So walks kill. You just can't do that. But Frankie Montas has been struggling lately. Hopefully he can turn the corner. I know they said him and Luke Maile are working hard, trying to figure out what's going on. We will see. But with that, last thing I want to talk about, again, going back a couple games, Tyler Stevenson had an awesome series against the Cubs. That guy is having a hell of a year. I think I said with preseason, if he had just a decent year, the Reds would be excited. He's had an awesome year. He's been way better defensively. He's been really good offensively, one of their best hitters offensively. I can't say enough good things about Tyler Stevenson. And David Bell is finally putting him in the DH, which is huge. Thank you, David Bell. I know I was ranting about that for the longest time. I just can't say enough good things about Tyler Stevenson. Justin Wilson comes in with first and third, 1 out with a 1-run lead the other day. Foul pop up into foul ground, and Tyler Stevenson makes an incredible sliding catch, I should say, to make it 2 outs in the 9th. And then Justin Wilson gets a ground out to first. Also, congrats to Justin Wilson, first save in I think since 2019. He had a big injury scare last year, middle of the year, and got shut down for the year with the Brewers. Justin Wilson's been really good so far for the Reds. A really cool story there. But with that, let's get in and preview the Guardians series, a 2-game series. And teams coming in, I went back and just looked at June because that's when the Reds have been hitting better. Obviously, if you look at their offensive numbers all year, they still aren't great because they had such a terrible start. But in June, the Reds are 4th in Major League Baseball with an 821 OPS. The Guardians coming at 14th with a 724 OPS, kind of a middle of the road team. Obviously, Jose Ramirez leads the charge for the Guardians. He's a guy every time he comes up to the plate, you get a little scared. Here we go. How about this? The OPS in June for the Reds. Listen to this list. TJ Friedl, 1.053. Jonathan India, 944. Jamier Candelario, 889. Spencer Steer, 859. Tyler Stevenson, 822. Jake Fraley, 817. Will Benson, 798. There's 7 of your main guys right there, all with almost 800 OPSs. That's pretty incredible, and that shows a lot why they started to win lately. Ellie De La Cruz, 612, not great, but he has turned it around a little lately. Had a pretty good series against the Rockies, not so great against the Cubs. But the offense is kind of coming alive. TJ Friedl, like I said, has been phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about him at the top of the order. He's hitting 7th or so against lefties. He's just a gamer. TJ Friedl's just a gamer, and he's been a huge part of why the Reds have started to win games. ERA for the Reds, they come in on the season 12th in Major League Baseball with a 3.89 ERA. The Guardians always seem to have good pitching every single year. They come in 6th with a 3.42 ERA on the season. In game 1 tomorrow, 7:10 p.m., I believe it is Triston McKenzie, and we'll have a bullpen day for the Cincinnati Reds. No starter has been announced. I am guessing it's going to be Martinez, or they'll start with an opener. I pray they start with an opener and put Martinez in from there. Every time Martinez comes out of the bullpen, he's so much better. So I don't know why you'd start him. I hope it's someone like Brent Suter, and then bring in Martinez from there. I hope he goes 5 or so. It'll be a bullpen day for the Reds. Triston McKenzie has given up 9 runs in his last 2 starts. He's kind of struggled this year. He's going through some arm issues, I believe. He could have had surgery. I think he elected not to have surgery. So he hasn't been his best self. I think the Reds have an opportunity tomorrow to score some runs. You never know what you're going to get with the bullpen game, but then again, the Reds won 2 bullpen games against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So you just never know what you're going to get. And then game 2, I think this is how you say his name, Tanner Bybee for the Guardians versus Nick Lodolo for the Reds on Wednesday. Nick Lodolo is coming off a 6-inning 1-run outing against the Reds. I think the Reds are 9-2 in games that Nick Lodolo starts. He's just been the hammer for the Reds. I mean, every time Nick Lodolo has the ball on the mound, you're just feeling good about it. Nick Lodolo, he's throwing that slider, he's throwing the curveball, whatever it is. That thing breaks so much, it usually hits the guy in the back foot, a right-handed batter, and they still swing. He's throwing that high fastball. He's throwing his changeup more than ever before. Nick Lodolo has been incredible for the Reds. He feels like he's, could be right there with an ace. Him and Hunter Green have both been awesome. Speaking of Hunter Green, the Reds moved him back to Friday just to give him some extra rest. I actually like that move for the Reds. Just get those guys through the full season. Whatever you have to do to get them through the full season, I'm all for it. Hunter Green's been awesome. He's pitching more innings so far this year. Love that for the Reds. Tanner Bybee has been really good for the Guardians. He's only given up 7 earned runs total in his last 5 games. If I was a betting man, I'd take the under on Wednesday. With that being said, it'll probably have about 14 runs because that's just how it goes when I say things like that. But it's a big series against the Guardians. Only 2 games. The Ohio Cup or whatever they call it, I don't think anyone really cares about. Maybe they do. Maybe I'll get blasted in the comments because people care about the Ohio Cup. I don't really care about the Ohio Cup, but it's cool. I guess they play. I don't know why it's only 2 games. I don't know why they don't play it on the weekend when you actually get good crowds from both teams. But that's not what we're here about. Whatever. Stop complaining. Stop complaining, Greg. Anyway, that's it, I think, for this week's episode of Queen City Reds. Hopefully next week I'll have a guest. It's hard to just sit here and talk to a screen, but I wanted to come on here and do it anyway. Hopefully next week we'll have a guest. And like I said, if you made it this far, please like, subscribe, comment, do all the stuff. It really does help. Hopefully the Reds have another winning week. I can't talk. Hopefully they get back to 500 and start going from there. As always, appreciate you. Go Reds. We'll see you next time.